one of the most quoted contestants from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6 is without a doubt Gia Gunn, who stood out from the rest of the dudes on the reality TV show for her biting commentary and unforgettable demeanor. Absolutely.
Gia grew up in the suburbs of Chicago and first went crazy cuckoo for drag in Miss Ketty's Latin Review, a long-running show that was home to many trans performers. Join us for a rare, in-depth interview with the beautiful Gia Gunn. Listen as we talk about her start as a Kabuki theater dancer, the secret to a good talk, and being fluent in English and Espanol.
Plus, the story behind Gia's giant, crazy Chanel hula hoop purse.
Why it's important to show your appreciation when someone is fishy to the fish.
Play our Gia Gunn drinking game.
And who does Gia think is the gal to watch on Season 7?
I'm Fausto Fernos.
I'm Mark Fillion.
And this is Feast of Fun. The time has come for you to show how fierce and fabulous you are, hunty.
Check out our t-shirts inspired by many great moments in drag in our fashion boutique, feastoffun.com/store.
Our guest today is the fabulous Gia Gunn. Absolutely.
Hi.
A Chicago gal, Gia was one of the most quoted girls from the last season of RuPaul's Drag Race. Welcome to Feast of Fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I could listen to you say absolutely for hours.
You and I think the rest of the world, right? Everybody and their requests for the ringtones and the ringbacks and the everything else.
Now, were you surprised that you would be so quotable when you went on RuPaul's Drag Race?
You know,
was that intentional?
You know, it wasn't. You know, everybody I think goes on there with intention to make a mark and definitely to be memorable and, you know, create these small, you know, branding things for yourself that happen after the show.
Sure.
And I, you know, I honestly went in there and just was myself, and the absolutely and the let me feel my, I mean, all those things just came out super naturally. And, you know, I think a little combo of just my witty attitude and the crazy shit I say, and as they say, the editing, you know, it's what you got, and that's what it is. So
you're comfortable with the way that you were presented on the show?
Super comfortable. I mean, you know, like I tell everybody, it's, you know, the show's definitely edited, but everything you say and everything you do is what you see and what you actually did, you know? Okay. So there's not too much covering up how you portrayed yourself, I don't think, you know? Maybe you wish you would have said things differently or did things differently. After.
We'll get to the regrets part soon.
But you know what I'm wondering is, because you did like a lot of those talking heads and you said very memorable things from a lot of those things. But when you're looking at that, when you're actually sitting there and they're asking these questions and you're in that moment, you probably get, 5 or 6 seconds. But how much time did you actually sit in that chair and they boil that all down to something? Are you at 15?
In the interview?
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes? Is it a half an hour?
At the end of the day.
Sitting there? You're there maybe for it depends. Sometimes we'll be in there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Sometimes you got a break for lunch. Sometimes you don't even have time to do the interview. So it ranged, you know. When you get eliminated, obviously you have to catch up and you have to, you know, talk more, and, you know, they want to get all the nasty info and shit that they want at the end, so...
Let me feel my outs. You know that's an equestrian term.
Well, I do now, actually.
It has to do with horses.
Sure.
Right? So you feed a,
As
feed
Milk
a horse.
says, let me feel my goats. I'm not sure if tilapia and goats get along, but we love each other, and
so you're at peace now.
We are.
But let's talk about Let Me Feel My Oats, because you have a great story to tell about it. But I want to tell you what I've discovered is that it's an equestrian term for horse racing.
Please.
And when they feed the horses oats, they're happy and they're aggressive and they feel pretty. Which was kind of describing your behavior. Why did you use that phrase in the show?
To be honest, it's just something catchy and something just funny that I adapted actually from an older queen, Miss Monica Latonka. She was a very well-known diva here in Chicago, and she actually was somebody very important that kind of helped me get my first show with Miss Kitty and the Latin circuit here in Chicago. And she would always tell me all the time, we would just out having like mother-daughter time, and she would just always say, bitch, she's fucking nuts. So, and she's older as well. So if this is a prehistoric term, it definitely makes sense.
It was dinosaurs eating their oats.
She would always just say, let me feel my oats, bitch. Let me feel my oats. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I guess just, after a while, it's just like, yeah, let me feel my oats, bitch. And at that moment, when I was letting my hair down and Bianca was like, what are you doing over there? I just, it just came out. And that's honestly the story, and that's how it came out, and very naturally. And I just got it from somebody else.
Were the queens kind of like off camera reacting kind of like, oats? What the hell is she talking about?
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to the other queens.
You're too busy prancing around,
and feeling
pretty,
my oats.
Feeling your oats.
Clearly.
So you got your start in Miss Ketty's review?
I did. Yeah, it was actually her last, I think it was her last white party for her birthday that they would do for her every year. And she... she told me that I should do a show, and of course that I should be transgender. But
because for a lot of people,
neither here nor there.
That don't know, Miss Ketty was a Chicago fixture for quite a while, and she would put on these reviews, these drag shows basically. But they were were they more trans shows, drag shows?
Well,
a lot of trans people got their start in
trans
there.
And drag is a fine line, especially here in Chicago. Home of the continental pageantry and all that. It's definitely a fine line. I like to just say female impersonation. Mm-hmm. Some of us are harder than others, and that's not my issue. But no, yeah, Miss Ketty definitely, she, herself being trans, she obviously helped support it, and obviously helped, these young queens and these girls that maybe did start off as drag queens, become beautiful transgender women. And, she was the leading hand for those that supplied the outlet and supplied the how-dos and the sources for these girls that had no idea.
For years, and unfortunately she passed away.
Yes. Mark, don't jump the gun. Yeah, on that talk, because I wanted to go even deeper into your roots. I just wanted to bring that up because you said, I don't jump guns, I am the boom boom gun.
Yes.
And where did Gia Gunn come from as your drag name? Because that your parents didn't look at you as a baby and say, our son will grow up to be Gia Gunn.
Of course, yes. Although they did know I was going to grow up and be fishy. However...
Did they know that?
I'm sure, absolutely. I mean... Your parents always know,
I don't know, because sometimes, people have different expectations.
Yeah, well, I always knew. I always just, I think I always expressed them that I wanted to be a star, and they always knew I would, dance around and be very fairy-ish on their coffee table and stuff. So I'm sure they're not surprised. But Gia, honestly, well, my actual drag mother, Gunn, comes from Allie Gunn, and she's not a drag queen. She doesn't really perform anymore, but she was actually the first, individual that I met when I moved to Chicago and became close within the LGBT community in Chicago. Her also being Latin and also, coming from not necessarily the Miss Ketty roots, but, the Latin scene, and her name is Allie Gunn. And she, gave
Why did she call herself that?
It comes from Tim Gunn from
Project Runway.
Yes, exactly. And
Gia Gunn is related to Tim Gunn.
Yes, shout out to Tim Gunn. I hope that he knows that. I hope he's feeling his oats.
He's your drag grandfather.
Yes.
Well, you do make it work, honey. And so Gia was because you like Gia Pets, or was
unfortunately no, it's
it's Gia Pets.
Well, I guess from the movie Gia Karanji, the supermodel. There was a movie called Gia, played by Angelina Jolie, And
I think it was on HBO, right?
That's straight to DVD, honey.
And it
Gia
just stuck in my mind.
Gia was a very famous
supermodel
during the 80s, and she also became addicted to heroin.
Love it.
And she got she got HIV and
heroin.
and she died from AIDS related complications. I think.
So
right?
Gia's heroin addiction made her your heroine.
Absolutely.
I love. So we're going to start counting. We're going to do a drinking game today. So you pull out your favorite booze. It's vodka, tequila. What's your favorite?
Sake.
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 And every time Gia Gunn says absolutely, you're going to hear the bell and take a shot and see how drunk you get at the end of the show.
Let's see how you feel your oats at the end of the session.
You know, it's interesting because people want to categorize you and pigeonhole you as an Asian queen. Mm-hmm. And I've even seen like interviewers like, "What country are you from?" And you're like, "I'm from the suburbs of Chicago." You're from Bloomington.
I actually grew up in Carpentersville, Illinois. I attended Barrington High School. In the
Barrington's a fancy high school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's where Mr. T's daughter went to high school.
Stunning.
And it's
love Mr. T, whoever he is.
And you were like openly gay in high school.
You know.
I was what?
I ran into some of your friends from high school, and
did you?
They were telling me that you were one of the few people that was openly gay in high school.
Yeah, I was very. It's not that I wasn't openly gay, but being gay where we attended school and where I grew up was just not. I didn't have other gay friends. I didn't have people that were embracing anything homosexual, and let alone us being a drag queen.
Just for people who know, Barrington is the Beverly Hills 90210 of Chicago.
Very that. District 220.
Yeah. It's expensive homes and stuff like that.
Yes, we were very fortunate to be able to attend the high school where I grew up, the part of the town where I grew up. We were assigned that district. So, nonetheless, my hometown where I grew up, Carpentersville, even though I grew up in a newly developed area, most of my friends were less fortunate than I, and, they were all predominantly Hispanic, Mexican and African American. So I was very well surrounded by all different classes, growing up, middle class and having close friends too that were less fortunate, and, seeing projects and seeing, what it really means to survive on no money, but always love, because my friends always had a lot of love, and that's, I think, what really kept a lot of us together. And, my close relationship with my best friend, Iris, we were best friends since kindergarten, and she's Mexican. That's also how I speak a lot of Spanish. A toda mi gente latina. And today
you guys just realized that Gia Gunn is not an Asian queen, she's a Latina queen.
She's Latina, she's black, she's Indian, she's yellow.
Nosotros podemos hacer esta entrevista en español.
Claramente, por favor.
Hoy en el Feast of Fun, la fiesta de felicidad, vamos a entrevistar Gia Gunn de RuPaul's Drag Race.
Vamos a encontrar cosas nuevas.
Does being bilingual get you action or attention or any kind of like brownie points?
Yeah, I think sometimes it goes overlooked because people don't really expect it from me, and they always want to ask and, question why and how and why so good and, all that stuff. And I just don't think they expect it, especially coming from an Asian person, and also speaking, I guess, as fluently and comfortably as I do because I grew up around native speakers. I think it, definitely wows people, and sometimes they just don't know. But overall, it's definitely...
Well, because you think that you might get dismissed as being, like, superficial or even dumb?
No, I don't think so at all. I actually, when people ask me, well, how do you speak such good Spanish? I said, es que soy educada. Which means it's because I'm educated, bitch. And I encourage everybody to educate themselves as much as possible and, use those things to your advantage. Mm-hmm. And definitely, Spanish is something that's good to know. When you go to the bathroom and it's like, hombres, mujeres, derecha, izquierda. Yeah, you better fucking know what's going on.
Right. I think actually a better word for educada is formación, right? Don't they say that in Spanish? Formación for education.
Yeah, but we're bilingual, so everything English and Spanish.
But we're being grammatically correct, Mark. But it was cute.
Okay.
It was cute.
Well, I just,
La
you know.
información es discreto.
Yo hablo español también.
Yeah.
También se
Claro.
habla español. That's another good T-shirt for you. You have like you're just pouring. You're born a catchphrase generator.
And you know what? The thing is that it doesn't even come out like with me knowing it. It just comes out very naturally. And that's why, yeah, sometimes it's like people want me to say it and they want me to. It's like, yeah, I can say it, but I prefer to like feel my oats and say it. You know?
Well, my favorite one of all is I don't like messy queens, I don't like cheap queens, and I don't like manly queens.
Yes.
So, Mark, don't show her pictures of you in drag
Well, I won't.
because she will.
Well, I didn't
read
come
you
here
filth.
I didn't come here to judge. I just came to show love and embrace.
No, so
What got you to say that? I forget what on the show. What was it even referencing? Was it milk?
I don't know.
No?
To be honest, when you do the interviews and stuff, there's so many different things that you say and that fly out of your mouth at different times. You don't know exactly where they're going to use that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was, I really don't remember.
And has your
But it was just, it was just stating that, you know, I guess what I didn't like and what I was seeing at the time and what I was.
well, you were pissed off that you were eliminated and Milk got to stay. And so when you were
I was
leaving,
pissed out that a couple people were still there.
like who
but,
else?
That's not important, but like definitely I just didn't feel like it was my time to go, and I felt
Well,
like
you were on the stage and you turned to the crowd and said, "You're a bunch of men."
You're all still dudes.
I said you guys are all still dudes, and I walked right off like pussy.
And you know what? You were right. They were all still dudes.
Yeah, and that's great. And now here I am embracing everybody,
And feeling your
including you
oats here on the
dudes.
Feast of Fun.
Feeling
your
like pussy,
folks.
feeling like cunt, feeling like, I love that one. Where did that come from?
That actually comes from one of my great girlfriends that you all be seeing more of, Miss Lila Star Escada. She's the first Latina transsexual rapper, and she actually we would be out and we would be at these functions, and she likes to go out into these Vogue beats, and everybody knows how I love to Vogue. And it would always just be that beat all the time. It would be feel like pussy, feel like cunt. And then it just stuck into my mind. And I guess when I was there, I was feeling pussy, feeling like cunt. But that's definitely, that's a little phrase that comes from my girlfriend Lila that you'll all be seeing more from this year. So please stay tuned to her and myself.
The year is 2015. We are now in the year that takes place in the movie Back to the Future 2. Do you know what the name of the car that they drive in that movie is now? How do you pronounce it?
I think so now, and I think
Begins with
it's
letter
a
D.
DeLorean.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you had to do a scene in RuPaul's Drag Race where they were like, "Gag me with a DeLorean" was the line, right?
Yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck is that? And the girls were like, oh, it's like a car. Okay, yeah, super.
But you went to a really nice high school where people probably had DeLoreans.
He's young. How old
Yeah,
are you?
but I also grew up around Hispanics and African Americans. Remember? Those were my close friends. Nobody was driving DeLoreans, honey.
Nobody
Have you
was
ever seen a
DeLoreans
DeLorean?
anyway.
I have now, of
Yeah.
course, with all the tagging and all that.
Oh, if like somebody
Just in case I didn't know, you know? The gays always want to make sure that you do now know.
But have you seen one in person?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm
Well,
not
they're
one to pay attention for
They
cars
look like
and
really
stuff.
fancy cars, but up close, it's a car made out of a stainless steel, and the doors kind of come up, and it's kind of like wonky.
Well, I would live if DeLorean were to go ahead and give me some type of opportunity to represent them, or
I don't think they're still in business.
They haven't been in business since the 80s. It was a very,
Sorry.
very short-lived car.
Yeah, so
It was
that's
the Edsel
also
of
why.
its day.
That's also why I
Sorry.
probably.
Yeah.
That's also probably why I didn't.
You were
have an
probably
idea.
what year were you born?
I was born in 1990.
Yes, DeLoreans were out of production.
I
by
want everybody to think about what they were doing in 1990.
I was doing drag shows in 1990.
Stunning.
I was, and you
Were
know
you
what's
a manly
interesting?
queen or
Well, when you're younger and skinnier,
trashy?
I was. We were all trashy queens.
Manly?
The idea of fishy queens was something that was not part of the drag establishment.
Really?
As much. Yeah. It's
So
and that's
it was
why
more
we-
the thing to be masculine, but portraying something womanly.
The fact that you were dressing up in drag was revolutionary enough, and the distinction between, manly, pretty booger queen. That's why RuPaul was so striking when she came out as a supermodel of the
Sure.
world, is because a lot of people's concept of drag was divine, was very punk and aggressive and boogery and stuff. And then suddenly comes this 8-foot tall supermodel.
Stunning woman
Yeah. And it changed the world.
who happened to be a man.
Yeah.
And everyone gagged.
Yeah, because people were like, how the hell is a black man getting blonde hair to sprout out of his head?
Because
And
they didn't.
Transformation and a lot of hormones, honey.
Honey, they were like, have you taken any performance enhancing drugs to win any of your titles?
No, just T blockers and voice training. It's very important.
You have taken T blockers?
No, absolutely not.
Because there's.
I'm a
yeah.
hard old man, honey, and as soft as they come.
I've seen you perform on stage, backstage. We were chatting.
Do you know what T blockers are?
Yes, testosterone blockers.
Okay, just making sure.
Our audience is very educated.
I
with
just
that.
want to make sure.
We know some girls that have transitioned who they don't take estrogen, but they do take T blockers.
Oh, okay.
Now, so backstage at one of your shows, you were about to go on stage, and to describe what you would look like, you were wearing some, I don't know how you'd managed to do it, but you made it look like you had a nice pair of tits and a hot pussy.
And you guys did a video of me saying absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I've seen that on YouTube.
But
It got a few little views. That little
Isn't that
4 second
crazy?
episode.
4 seconds of you
I'm
going,
like, what the fuck's going on here? My lash is still crooked. I'm still looking hard boots, and I'm still saying absolutely, and everyone loves it. So I love all of you.
No, but so how did you crazy glue your genitals to make it look like you didn't have a dick?
Because you basically had a doily, tape
Well, I
out.
don't have a dick. You know that I was born as a cisgender woman, right? And I just put duct tape there just to make all the other queens feel comfortable.
It was impressive. Because the last time I had seen that was on Carmen Carrera.
Let me tell you something. The tuck is very important, right? For me, as a fishy femme queen, it's very important to have a very explicit and right tuck, because that for me is the first thing that anybody's eye is going to. I know that's the first thing my eye goes to with any queen is their tuck, because you wanna feel that pussy, you want to feel that fantasy, you want to
feel that cunt.
know that's okay, that beautiful creature has a dick, and where is it?
It's a transformation.
That's the first thing that
It's like
I
a
think
Where's Waldo?
people.
The same thing,
absolutely.
You're like, where is it?
Yeah, and for me, it's just always, especially now, and doing it every day of my life. Of course, it becomes more easier, and you become accustomed, and you figure out tricks, and you meet new girls that show you different things, and. Oh, a tuck is not learned overnight, honey, and everybody I'm sure out there is still learning.
What's the best advice you have for somebody to tuck?
Spray adhesive, honey. You cannot get anything up there without some spray adhesive. But I can't give away all my tricks because then I won't be.
Spray? So you spray that?
Adhesive.
I am the new Gia Gunn.
And, of course, like Willem Belli, also available on her store. Gia Gunn is also a good friend to have right next to you while you're getting untucked.
Oh.
Yeah.
Girl, you learn all sorts of things on this
is
podcast.
just basically oil, isn't it?
Gugon
Basically, you just need
not.
to chop off your dick and put some tape up there, make all the other queens feel comfortable in the dressing room, and just be like, I'm finished, and that's that. Take your tape off, torture them with it, give it to them maybe for Christmas or have them smell it.
You smell good and you look good. Do you ever get offers on the internet to sell your duct tape or?
I thought we weren't sharing explicit information.
All right.
No, actually,
get some real chasers.
You know what?
Yeah, because you're a cute Asian twink guy.
Sure.
Out of drag, and then you're a very pretty girl in drag.
Yeah, I think every queen gets all types of offers, right?
What's your typical chaser like?
That I like or that chases
that
me?
is like you.
That likes
you.
me? I don't know. All chasers are the same, aren't they? Usually just hairy and kind of manly and kind of like the straight version of you guys, but taller and maybe not as cute.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Nonetheless, masculine and generous, of course.
Mark, don't knock off that light. Oh,
they're bringing me to the
sorry.
light.
Was that too much light now? Do you want me to fix it?
No,
yeah, can you fix it?
It's great. It's for all the tranny chasers out there getting into my skin.
Well, I'm just worried that thing. Will you just yank down that?
It's okay. I can fix my costume at the same time.
Hold on, let me.
I think my duct tape is coming loose.
2018. We'll fix that.
See, if you had some spray adhesive on that bitch up there.
So for people who don't know what just happened, we're also doing video clips for YouTube, so you can actually see the lovely Gia Gunn in person. Hi. And we had a light, and the gel off the light fell off, and it's almost
their touch is not on fleek. That's why.
Don't let that thing fall on my head or anything.
Let's talk about my favorite fashion accessory that
Please, I love fashion.
Is the Chanel hula hoop purse, which you entered with.
Yes, well, as RuPaul said, we can't exactly say Chanel, right? Also, why I had to take the logo off of the bag. The bag was actually used for a pageant, Miss Dios. I used it for my traje de baño category, which she actually did have a Chanel category Chanel logo on the bag, because yes, of course, there was a replica or a replicant of the bag that my good designer Hecator made for me for the pageant, that I did actually get crowned in. Thank you. But then when I went to Drag Race and they saw the bag, they gagged and they lived, and they were like, but that logo though. And I said, okay.
Hold on a second. So when you're on RuPaul's Drag Race and you have a Gucci or a Chanel or purse or whatever, you have to remove the logo?
Yeah.
So there's no logos allowed on logo?
They're very funny, and it's sticky, and it's very all types of branding and continuity and all this production bullshit and brands and ownership and rights and all this stuff.
Do you realize that Chanel did really well for themselves with you choosing to wear a knockoff of their purse on the stage, and Kris Kardashian, shortly after your appearance, she was spotted wearing that.
And then there was a little meme out there with Kris and the bag, and she was feeling her oats, and she was absolutely, and yeah. I hope you guys all ate that stuff up, because I sure was sitting in my bed.
Has anyone sent you the Chanel purse?
No, they haven't.
Girl,
Do you have
Chanel.
it here for me today?
Chanel.
My generous daddy, tranny chasers.
How much does that purse cost?
I have no idea.
It's like a small car.
It's a little down payment.
Let me Google that while we're talking here.
It's a little down payment, but it's also available, I think, as Miss Bianca Del Rio tagged me, as a fireplace wood holder.
Okay, so I'm just did a quick Google, and it's about $2,000.
That's not bad at all.
And it comes in black, blue, white, and red.
Stunning.
Do you see it on the screen?
I do see it.
And orange too, girl.
Yes, well, hopefully this year Gia Gunn will be releasing her own little mini bag of the hula hoop version that will also be available to you on the Gia Gunn store. So I hope you guys will stay tuned for that.
Well, you do have to stay true to your heritage and make designer knockoffs and sell them on the street.
Yes, because I don't do nail, and I don't do weave, and I don't do acrylic, so I have to do something.
You do know, you don't speak Japanese, but you actually do know quite a bit of Japanese dance.
I do, yes. As a child from the age of 7 to 15, I studied and was very highly involved with Fujima Shunojo and the Japanese classical dance group here in Chicago, based off of Clark Street at the Japanese American Service Community. I studied dance and theater. It's Nihon Buyo is the dance version of Kabuki theater, which is very well known in Japan as the oldest ancient art form. Which is all predominantly male as well.
Are you a black belt in Kabuki, or is there such a thing? Or
so there's different rankings in the dance, and without getting into too much detail, because it gets very complex, as our culture is very that way, and it's very prestigious, and it's not like drag at all, but there's definitely levels that you can accomplish. And one being a natori, which is like, you receive your licensure to be, I guess, semi like a professional. And then you can also receive your shihan, which is the license to become a teacher and to, continue on as a dance master. We were fortunate here in Chicago. Our master came from Japan, from Tokyo, and brought, his school and his training and
was he the
his
same
dreams to Chicago.
Was he the same guy involved with the Chicago Shakespeare Theater when they did
Madame Butterfly?
Yes,
exactly.
It was the same person. Okay. I saw that production.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you? Yeah,
it was beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that you have some insight on them. So I studied with them. I actually started off, my grandmother, my aunt, and actually both grandmothers on both sides, they also studied minyo, which is Japanese folk dancing. So I was actually kind of started off with that at the age of 5. I did my first stage appearance at the Field Museum here in Chicago. I was 5 years old. I performed with all these, grandma senior citizens, and I was just this little thing on the stage that, and I was really good at it. And then I just kind of graduated to, the classical dance, which is more, with the kimonos and the makeup and the hair and, the more, which appears to be like drag, and everybody knows it's like, the geishas and stuff like that.
So you were dressing up as a geisha girl as a little boy?
Yeah. And
so you were playing a girl, though?
It was, I did both male and female roles. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. But Kabuki's all predominantly male, but Nihon Buyo is just the dance form. It's not the same brand, if you will. It's kind of like, ballet and jazz and,
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So Kabuki's music, dance, theater. Buyo is just the dance portion, which also allowed females as well. But it was also very, what's the word? Definitely unheard of. For here, to put it in better perspective, in Chicago, for 8-year-old, 4th generation, Japanese American boy, doing Nihon Buyo and portraying these female roles and, I guess being very good at it and, it was unheard of. So, for my culture and for, other Japanese people here, it was like a wow thing for them. And, I got a lot of embracement from my community and a lot of support from my family throughout my whole journey through that, But then you grow up and you fall in love with other things and you want to, become something else and you want to, hang out with your friends and do stuff that you shouldn't be doing.
Did you ever encounter any kind of like discrimination or homophobia from dealing? You're living in Chicago. You're going to a high school with a lot of people who may not understand or appreciate what it means to play a female role as a little boy. You know what?
All my friends that were all mostly biological girls at the time, because I had no gay friends, they all embraced me, and everybody understood what it was that I was doing, those that were educated on the subject that matter, right? Like, we are all ignorant to things that we don't know. I don't think... because it was something that was very private. You know, I would go to school and I would come home and do my homework, and I would, you know, then watch videos and sew costumes and practice and, you know, be in my little dance studio that my dad built for me in my house, and just be really alone. You know, something that I did on the weekend and at night after school by myself.
Were you in the closet to your friends about this?
No.
They knew you were doing it?
No, absolutely not. No, because it is actually the talent, and it is still a part of my passion, but it's not something that I'm focusing on right now, but it is the natural born talent that I was born with.
You were born to do this?
Yes. And, you know, that was very apparent at 5 years old, and just moving and dancing the way that I was, you know, I think it was very apparent. And the love that I have for the art and that I had at the time at such a young age was, you know, nobody could take me away from that. That was my high, that was my fun, that was my just everything, you know.
So you have this like extensive training and this background, and now you find yourself in the world of drag queens, where there's a lot of different skill levels, and a lot of queens have just come lately and have very little training.
Correct.
You know,
or no training at all. You know,
yeah.
and then you do get to Drag Race, and then you are, you know, put against, you know, these other queens who have, you know, a lot of music theater backgrounds, and, you know, come from, you know, theater stuff, and may have had, you know, other experiences doing, you know, acting and stuff like that. And you're given these challenges, you know, that you have to just kind of go in there and take head on. And just because I was, you know, studying that, you know, form of theater didn't mean that it was going to translate the same. So it was difficult for me to kind of pull that, you know, the comedy queen and the, virgin in a scary movie and stuff like, you know, those were first opportunities, first times that I had to come from within, you know, inside and find that inner, you know, skills for, you know, to cater to the roles that you were being asked to do. So putting, you know, all that together and having that experience, you know, with the Japanese classical dance and, you know, the theater aspect obviously brings me to where I am today. And, you know, I have used every aspect that I can to form, you know, Gia Gunn and everything that I do, and with my shows and my looks, and yeah.
A lot of Americans' introduction to Asian style of dance and theater comes from the film Farewell, My Concubine, which takes place in revolutionary China. Have you ever seen that movie? Or
I don't think I have, no.
Oh, you would love it. Check it out. If you're a fan of this stuff, well, Asian dance in general.
Sure.
I thought you were going to say Madonna and her Buto dancing.
Well, in the early 90s, Buto dancing was very hot. You know, and Sankai Juku and all this. I'm dropping too many names.
I wish I knew what that was, but that's for another time.
As Nina Flores would say, Google it, loca.
You don't know what it is? Google it.
Okay, let's take some questions from Facebook, because a lot of kids have a lot of great stuff to ask you. Mars Martin wants to know about your brand, because he feels like you're not developing it. From TV and web content to social media, it feels like every other drag queen is profiting on everything Gia Gunn does, but Gia herself. I have so he's asking, it feels like I get the Gia-isms from everyone, but Gia herself. It's part of Alaska's repertory, for example. There's a Hey Queen, where there's always some unmistakable reference to Gia, even when she's not the topic of conversation. This also goes for any time I see a drag queen being interviewed. Absolutely. Can't ignore those Gia-isms. They become a part of drag race discussion or interview of anyone related to drag race. This includes your podcast, Fausto. And then there's the stuff about Gia in like the Bianca Del Rio bit in Really Queen. Apologies in advance. I'm typing this on a small screen at work.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you want me to say to that, but
well, no. I guess that he's asking you to. He feels like other people are kind of stealing your bit.
No, yeah. Well, first and foremost, honey, unfortunately, no one's getting paid to hashtag let me feel my oats, hashtag absolutely, hashtag Gia Gunn. Although you're right, I probably should be, but you know what? It's 2015 and I am who I am. I'm doing what I do. And I think it's great. And I don't need to necessarily say these things on a daily basis 24/7 because you guys have heard me say them plenty enough. And yes, like you said, if you don't know, yes, you do Google it, which I'm sure many people have done, and you will see the embracement and the branding and the things that I have set for myself. Now, profiting, I don't think anybody else is profiting off of anything
Well,
other
you're working
than
on
myself.
a single. You're working on a single.
Yeah.
That's going to have everything. It's like every quote in it.
Everything. But I guess in response, and I'm definitely trying to see the best out of the commentary, and you know, there probably is some truth to what you're saying, and I just call it embracement.
You embrace the fact that other people use it.
If other queens are using that, and if other people on a daily basis are saying these things and repeatedly it's in their mind, I think I'm doing an okay job at building my brand, and I think I'm doing not a bad job at having people remember it and having it be in your face. So I think that I'm doing an okay job actually, because these people are repeatedly using
it's like a validation
phrases,
in some ways.
and you know that absolutely let me feel my oats and crazy cuckoo cunt is gonna go ahead and
Sorry, I've been sleeping at the wheel with a dings.
be related to Gia Gunn. So yeah.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
Kyle Coffin asks, Gia, do you have any tips on how to keep myself from looking like a fucking dumpster? I'd like to achieve at least waist bucket status.
Waist bucket status.
Because you kind of went from, I'm not going to say you were a booger queen in the day, but
I was hard boots. What do you mean?
What does that mean, hard boots? What is hard
well,
boots?
Well, boots means, you know what boots means,
boots
right?
mean your feet. You're
well,
like, your shoes. No?
God, how gay are you guys? How many queens? No one's come out here saying boots?
Nobody has ever said, I know somebody named Candace
The
Boots.
house down boots? You never heard
Yes,
that?
of
Erica
course.
Andrews, the house down boots.
But you don't know what it means.
Boots.
You're just using it.
That means a lot. Boots means a lot, or just of high quantity.
Oh, like Boku
it's like
or something.
Boots. It's called boots.
Again, that's a horse racing terminology.
Oh, really?
And hard just means, you're hard. You're a fucking
okay.
hard queen. You're like a brick.
A hard boot is, according to the slang dictionary, somebody who's really into horse racing.
Yeah, but we can't go with that when we're talking about hard boots. No, it's just no.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit, because you and your manager were here earlier. You had a bit of a transformation.
Yeah,
because you decided I'm going to take a look at my drag and up it.
Yeah, well, honestly, drag. I started off as a cross dresser. I didn't even start off dressing up as a girl for the drag show. It was literally just to dress up and to feel feminine and to blend in with society, actually, and I guess. I mean, I was influenced by transgender women at the time. So, yeah, to blend in and to portray,
Do you identify as transgender to some regard? Or?
I think it's definitely something that can be a part of you. I don't think anyone has to identify as anything, but definitely trans is something that is a part of you. It's not necessarily who you are, It's fine lines. And it's very complicated.
Well, the way I like to say it is that it's like you may not always identify as trans or woman or whatever, but you, in your heart and your soul, to express yourself creatively means to embrace being a woman.
I just identify as me. And those that can embrace me as though I am today, I appreciate it. And those that refrain from putting labels, I encourage that, because especially 2015, and there's so much, diversity out there and so much different creative aspects with drag now. It's like you have to embrace all that.
So when you're back in your hard boots period, so you were dressing like a girl passing
It's not hard, but it's hard boots.
Hard boots.
boots.
Yes.
Okay, so you were
House
dressing
down
as a girl to
boots.
pass as a girl.
Well, it was just to have fun,
And not
you know.
having the
It's
drag
a good old
aesthetic.
cross dressing, yeah. And then, you know, I, fell in love with the drag. You know, kind of just starting to be around it. You know, Miss Jade Sotomayor season 1. You know, back when Spin Nightclub was in business. You know, I was young and just kind of tagging along and schlepping bags for these fucking queens and being snuck in to do their hair and being called assistant, and really I was just there to be the fag in the corner and just watching all the queenetry.
You were doing Jade Sotomayor's season 1's hair.
Yeah, I would do her hair, and I would,
Because you've also studied cosmetology,
And when you say
too.
you snuck into the club, do you mean you were underage at the time?
well,
Not to rat
I
out
was her
Jade, maybe somebody.
assistant.
Okay.
I was her assistant. They don't
That's okay.
they don't ask for the assistant's IDs. No, but yeah, and I just started to come around the drag community, and with Miss Ketty and everything, and the Latin, the trans beauties. I was flabbergasted by just the feminine creature, the character that was being executed so well by these girls, and and honestly, yeah, it was just that first Miss Kitty show, and she said, "Why don't you do a show? Why don't you do a show for me, loca?" And I said, "Okay," and I got my costume and my stones, and my tuck wasn't on fleek back then, and I probably didn't even have body on, but you know what? I did the best that I could, and I felt absolutely stunning and fabulous, and it kind of just really took off for me there. I want to almost say like I didn't have a choice. It was like, nope, this is for you. People embraced me. People loved it. I had a good response. Of course, people, try to call you hard boots, and that's fine. And, you just do what you love, you know what I mean? And
John Reinhardt,
that's what I did.
John Reinhardt wants to know about this quote. Just off the boat, a little trip from Asia, fresh tilapia. Why not salmon or orange roughy or...
You know what? Again, to be honest, because I'm just crazy, and tilapia just
It
flew
felt
off
right.
the tongue. Yeah, just came out of the mouth.
It sounds
and,
like another word for a vagina, tilapia or something.
And because it's the cheapest fish, and we all know that I'm the cheapest queen, because I don't like cheap, manly, and what?
Messy.
Messy. There we go. You guys paid attention, I think.
I like being quick.
As I'm still trying to recall which order it's in and which actual phrases they are.
My favorite, though, is also, too, thank you for being fishy to the fish, mama.
I love that one. Mark says that to me in bed before we go to sleep sometimes. It's an intimate phrase.
I love that. Right
Thank you
before
so
bed,
much for loving
being
me.
fishy to the fish. Does that mean that you're the fish of the relationship?
I think what you mean is like, thanks for being kind to me.
We don't necessarily assign those
That
kind of
doesn't
roles.
mean, okay, okay.
Thanks for being fishy to fish. I guess, what does it mean to be fishy? It means to be kind.
It just means, yes, thank you for embracing the fish.
Because some women and some gay men are like, fish, women, drag, how sexist. But you have a very romantic, very loving idea of
Yeah, because being
fish.
fishy is fun. It's cute. It's sexy. It's
Fishies in the sea.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
It's like finding Nemo.
Tilapia.
Yeah. Do you have a fish tank at home?
I don't. I'm too fucking lazy to clean such a thing.
So Greg Nelson wants to know what's up with the wonky eyelash.
Well, as I explained on the reunion, most Asians are born with, well, not most, but some, like myself, one eye is like droopier and wonkier than the other naturally. I don't know if you guys can really
I can
tell.
zoom in here.
This side, comes down a little bit more than the other.
Wait, look right.
And you know what?
Look right at the camera and we'll put it on YouTube.
And you know what? Yeah.
So which is the one that wonks?
This side.
Okay.
I thought it was the other one.
No, because I see.
No.
Yeah, see, one is a little bit opens more than the
No,
other.
you're playing tricks on me. It is this side.
It is. Yeah. There you go.
You
So
see?
if you're gonna be putting eyelashes
So-
on you, yeah.
Now I have learned a few tricks, of course, because we all improve and we all find out new tricks and little details after this wonderful thing called Drag Race. Thank you to Miss RuPaul. And hopefully now we have, better lashes. And hopefully they're not as wonky. But you know what? If
so you got a different style of lash? Is that what it is?
No, it was just probably that I was just fucking it up and didn't know how to put it on because I was hard boots.
Marianne Marola says, I loved meeting you.
Marianne.
She met you on the cruise. She loved meeting you. You're so sweet. What is the thing that you love most about Chicago? Do you plan on staying here?
I want to say Chicago, probably the diversity and the amount of different types of cultures there are and different types of people. I don't know that I plan to stay here because I've been here my whole life and I love other places like New York and Australia and places that show me new and exciting things. But I do love Chicago. I love everybody here that has embraced me. And actually, 2015, I'm looking to build stronger, better, and closer relationships with all my gay clubs and all my Gia Gunn fans here in Chicago, as I was a little bit absent last year due to traveling and feeling my oats and being fishy to the fish other places. But yes, this year I'm definitely looking to take Chicago by the fucking throat if I have to and get shit stirring and get you kitties turning it out there, because Chicago's definitely a fun place and I think we can amp up the volume and take advantage a little bit more.
Judge John Reinhardt also says, since your view of drag has expanded, if you weren't a pageant fish, what would you serve instead?
And I don't even think that I'm pageant fish or any type of, fish in general. I mean, my style is definitely feminine and it's definitely drag. But, I don't know. I'd probably just be fucking crazy cuckoo cunt. Just cunt.
I forgot about that one.
But now, I don't know. By the looks of it, I'd probably be a manly, messy, funny queen like my fucking brother Bianca Del Rio and just tell jokes and insult everyone because that seems to be what's in.
What do you explain to that appeal of having a drag queen read you to filth? It's sadomasochistic in some ways, right?
What do you mean?
It's like the people just they come up to you. I've seen this at the beach and the bars when I've hung out with you. Mm-hmm. They come up to you and they're almost saying kind of rude things to you to get you to Well,
because everyone thinks they know you and everyone thinks that you already feel like you're better than them, yeah. And they can't just come up to you like a normal person and be like, hey, I love, you and, what you've done. And absolutely. And, they can't just embrace you fully because they have to. And that's another thing I'm trying to change about Chicago too. There's a lot of haters here in Chicago and a lot of people that aren't happy to see each other succeed, and I'm not exactly sure why. And I'm looking to up that a little bit, because everyone is fabulous in their own way and everyone is talented. And I think sometimes even as, rude girls, it's we don't look over enough and just say, hey, you look nice, or, you're doing great, or, let's partner up and embrace each other and, serve the community down and do all these, things. It's everyone's focused on just themselves and being the best and, and it's okay sometimes to give compliments and
Well, I'm glad you're saying that because I'm going to take you up on that offer and invite you,
and we will do it,
to participate. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Participate in Cooking with Drag Queens, honey.
Yeah.
We want you. You see that kitchen behind you, that dark, cluttered kitchen? It actually is the set of our new web series.
Are we going to make tilapia?
We can fry tilapia if you want to.
It's only 99 cents for what the fans tell me. It's the cheapest fish.
Mark makes the most delicious curried, crusted tilapia. That is extraordinary.
Cooked in coconut oil.
Ooh, for the organic lovers.
Oh, yeah. Organic, honey.
Yes. My mother always told me to use coconut when I'm getting fisted.
Really?
She said, those artificial loops out there aren't so good for you. You got to check into the coconut oil. I'm like, okay, Mom, next time I go to the Whole Foods, I'm going to pick up that jar of coconut oil. Yeah, my mom swears by coconut oil.
We're huge fans of coconut oil.
Yeah.
And I do believe that, like, sometimes I get a rash from using
you should give it a try.
Yeah.
It's natural. I was born organic baby, so I do definitely try to be green as much as possible.
I want to meet your parents. They
You would
sound
love
like
them.
wonderful
They're
people.
lovely people. They're lovely people. My dad's a businessman, of course, and just supports his little gay drag queen son, is there for me. And my mother is a nutritionist / counselor / my lover and my support and just everything. But they're great people.
Do your parents have a jacuzzi? Can we have like a hot tub party in their house? And
No jacuzzis. They're actually separated, so I don't know how comfortable it would be to be in the water together. But we can definitely dive deep into the sea and see what we can explore.
Have you been to King Spawn, the suburbs?
No, I haven't. I've been
spa?
dying. I've heard that it's fabulous.
Let's go to it.
Stunning.
Next time Alaska's coming to town,
I would love that.
let's go to King, and we promised to take Alaska to King Spawn.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. So
I think she'd like it.
Do they do
We can see her big dick.
extracurricular activities at
Alaska
King
has a
Spawn?
giant dong.
Enormous.
It's
I think
huge.
it's fallen on my wonky eyelash before.
And just so people not think we're like having
When
sex
she
with
was
all the
trying
guests,
to-
we saw her on stage, and that's where we saw the dick.
And she whipped it out.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's you guys are really close friends, actually.
You know what? We've actually have embraced. She actually kind of started our little like embracement, our friendship, and our love for each other. Just after my season, and she came up with that super hilarious video where she was kind of imitating me and doing all my catchphrases and stuff. And at first I wasn't sure. I'm like, oh, is this queen throwing shade? But then I'm like, no, I don't think she is. I think she's really embracing me and showing me love. And then like we connected, and ever since then we've been back and forth, just love. And I love her to death, and I support her so much, and she supports me. And she is one of those queens that also taught me and really showed me to embrace other types of drag, like she always said, it's just drag, like in her little ways.
It's just drag.
Well, maybe that's like her manly side that you guys have seen. I know
Alaska.
the fishy side.
Well, Alaska goes like,
just
hi,
drag.
how you guys? But it's,
it is just drag.
This is Alaska.
Yeah, I love it.
it's just basically Napoleon Dynamite. If you imitate Napoleon Dynamite, you can do Alaska's voice, pretty much the same thing. Now, see, the thing I like about drag and the drag's contribution to the world is that it gives us an ability to embrace sometimes the hate that we receive.
The inner faggotries is what I like to call it.
Because we overcome all this, abuse and negativity and horrible things as gay people and as LGBT people. And the thing I like about that, what you just said, is that shade is really a loving way to embrace being insulted, sort of the way if you can see your T-shirt, hunty. It's honey and cunty. It's sort of like a combination of love and hate as one word,
Yes. And what about this? Hey, what about the gays and the masculine, gays that maybe not hate but don't embrace drag queens and this wonderful art form? How do you think that we as Gia Gunn and Feast of Fun, that we can help them maybe change their ways of thinking, or maybe
I got an answer for that.
their embracement?
I got to tell you two things. They don't know what they're missing. To know you is to love you. And the third thing is, man's rejection is God's protection, honey. If they don't like what you're selling, chances are you're better off not having what they want.
Yeah. But you know what? I think drag is definitely taking all over the world is taking a bigger and better turn. And I think people, not only gays, especially, things to Drag Race, I think for the heterosexual community, drag has become so much more understandable and so much more of an art that people are actually able to see good qualities in, and not just, some nasty fag as, wanting to be a woman and, ew, that's gross. And, kind of all those thoughts that even myself, as now a professional drag entertainer, once even had thoughts of, like, ew, that's gross. I remember seeing my first, drag, and I was just like, why is she doing that? Why, we're supposed to be dudes and we're gay, we're embracing our penis and masculinity, and, why? And then, then you question yourself, well, why the fuck not, And I think it's a beautiful thing. And now here I am, 2015, as Gia Gunn, and people call me now Gia more than they call me by my biological name, which is not something that I was ever used to before, and Gia Gunn is not exactly
no, you're Scotty.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And
like Star Trek. Your
beat me up.
They named you after the Star Trek guy.
But
he's Irish. Wasn't he Scottish? No, he's Scottish.
Scotty.
Sorry.
Yeah, again, probably before my time, right? 1990.
So you've never watched the original Star Trek?
Nope, not into cartoons.
There's a character.
There's a character. One of the things I watch, like Fausto, you have to watch this episode. But imagine that this woman is actually Gia Gunn. And it's the Ella.
We're going to watch it the next time I come to cut.
And I think maybe, you know what, we're going to watch it, and I think we'll videotape your reaction.
Okay.
Because are you familiar with Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew?
No.
It's a story where a guy marries this woman and she's a dead-on bitch. She's a hard boots bitch.
No.
And eventually he tames her to be a nice woman. And this is the similar kind of story.
Sickening.
Yeah, sickening. And the ambassador that's helping to arrange this marriage is a super queeny guy. So.
And Gia, I hope, give me your hand, darling. I hope that we tamed a little bit of your shrewness.
No, you guys have asked wonderful questions, and I'm definitely happy to be able to answer them for all of you.
Let's talk a little bit about the season 7 girls.
Yes, before we wrap this up, I want to remind people that Feast of Fun is made possible because of your financial support. The t-shirts that we sell on our store, feastoffun.com/store, like Hunty, the shade is strong with this one, and lots of other fabulous shirts, and our blog about drag queen shirts. We have a blog about drag queen shirts now.
Yes, please tell me.
So you can see because there's a lot of drag queens now, all of them selling amazing merchandise. And we thought, let's put it all in one place so you can keep track of who's selling what and where to get it and all that stuff. And you can get that at store@feastoffun.com.
Yes. And I want everybody to be able to feel their oats as well, and go ahead and purchase my Let Me Feel My Oats t-shirt, available for you at square.com/market/Gia-Gunn. And you're also, please, for all of you that do follow me on the Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, if you haven't fallen into my new absolutely Gia Gunn tank tops that you are wearing here, also fashionably showing that body. Yeah.
There you go, hon.
It's also available online for all my Gia pets. And thank you all of you that have already bought in yours, all my fans that are now starting to purchase internationally from the United Kingdom and from France and Australia. I love all you guys so much, and I can't wait to see more of my international fans this year, 2015.
Do you know much about the season 7 queens? Because, girl, they're running behind.
You know what? I don't, probably because they're running behind. But I know of a few, and I have checked out a few of them. Not all of them, I have to be honest, because I'm busy doing my shit right before these queens come out and take over. But from what I've seen, there's some cute girls on there.
Who's the one that you're kind of excited or curious to see more about?
Well, of course, I have to have my Latin sisters back, but also just because she's one of the only ones that I've been able to meet and actually hang out with and observe her drag, Miss Candy Ho from Puerto Rico. She is sickening, and I love her look, and of course her aesthetic is fishy.
And she's one of the few drag queens that speaks English from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, well, hey, we have to be nice. Miss April spoke English very well.
And besides April, yeah. I mean, but before April, all of them had
And you know what?
accents,
the girls from Puerto Rico don't need to speak English because they're fucking fierce.
Oh.
And their lip sync to an English song will always be on point because they are fierce queens. But yeah, Miss Candy Ho, she definitely turns it out. I'm definitely supporting her. Miss Trixie Mattel, right here from Milwaukee, Chicago, or Chicago.
She's moving to Chicago now.
Okay, sickening.
And there's rumors that the secret Asian queen is Kim Chi from Chicago.
Oh, well, I haven't heard that rumor.
There's a missing queen.
There's a secret queen.
And then actually, the other rumor is that it's you.
Oh, well, these are rumors, honey, that we can't let them be spilled before the date. So I want everyone to stay tuned and be patient for Miss Season 7. But I'm also rooting for Miss Fame, NYC. Is she on this season?
No, she's not.
She has to be.
No, she's not.
She's not?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, it shows you how much I've done my research. Sorry, girls, but I definitely do like the ones I like and the ones that stand out on my Instagram. I always like all your girls' photos. But yeah, definitely those three queens from what I've seen so far. I'm sure I'm going to fall into more of the girls. And I wish all the Season 7 girls the best of luck, even though you might have done it already. But I wish them all the luck, and I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us. And I'm super excited to meet all of you.
But remember that you're still the queen.
And you guys are all still fucking dudes.
Yes! Gia Gunn, thank you so much for talking to us. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me, and I want everyone to stay tuned for what I have for you coming this year.
What's going on?
Well, this year I just
have like a sheet there.
Yeah, I would just like to
read it
for those of you that do follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Everything is under Gia Gunn, GAAGUNN. I just want to invite everybody here in Chicago, February 4th. I'll be doing. I shot a music video for Homer Mars and the Excellent Adventure. They're a little band that has a video coming out, and I'll actually be starring in the premiere. And that's gonna.
You're in Homer Mars's video.
Homer Mars, Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Not Bruno Mars, Homer Mars.
So get it twisted, honey.
The bear.
I was like, wow.
However, it's going to be held at Berlin here in Lakeview at 9 p.m. on February 4th, and it's free of entry. We're going to be debuting the video. There will be the cast and staff that worked on the project. So please come down for that day. I'll be there giving a look, of course, and kikiing with everybody. March 31st at Roscoe's. I want to invite everybody. I'll be there with Miss Pearl for their March Dragness that they have going on at Roscoe's. I'll be there with Miss Pearl from Season 7, turning it out. And I just want everyone to stay tuned. I know you guys have all been asking for the Crazy Cuckoo Cunt mix. We are waiting for iTunes to go ahead and accept our request for all you to feel your oats with that.
So it's been done.
It's been done, yeah, because I performed it on the cruise, and I performed it when I went to Australia.
Can we play it at the end of the show?
Yes, please.
All right, kids.
And also, my Feeling My Oats singer, also, like I mentioned earlier in the show with Miss Lila Star Escada, we have many things coming for you this year, and I love everybody, and I love everyone that feels their oats on a constant daily basis. And I want to thank Feast of Fun for having me here today. It's been my pleasure. Are you feeling your oats, gentlemen?
I'm feeling my oats, and I can't wait to sow some of those oats.
Sickening.
The wild ones.
So again, please go ahead and pay attention, be aware, and be ready for Miss Gia Gunn here in 2015. And buy my shirt, bitches. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.